there. My name is Dorcas Mwangi, and you are tuned into Quarter Life Crisis. Today I have a special guest with me, known as Reverend Dr. G G Gitahi. So, welcome.
Thank you, Dorcas.
So, today I just wanted to talk to you more about life. I think everyone knows of you as being a reverend as well as teaching in university. So, I think now is when we want to get to know more of you and your personal life and just how you view life and other things that people might not know about you. So,
Oh,
I would like to first start with just your transition from Kenya to the UK. When did you move to the, not the UK, the US, sorry.
the US. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish to live in the UK too, but because I hear the dollar in the UK is more than the US dollar. But let me say that this is my third time to the United States of America because I went there in '70s for high school, and then I
Oh,
went back to the US in 1995 as a missionary to
okay,
USA in Texas.
okay.
And then the third time is when I went for my graduate studies, 1996. Actually, I am 20 years in the U.S.
Wow.
And the transitioning way back in the 70s, I think was the greatest culture shock because I had come from a very rural area in Kenya, as you can imagine, and the culture shock coming from
Whereabouts in Kenya?
is in Nyahururu. Nyahururu, I don't know, you're on the way I'm not very good with the direction, but west of Nairobi as
Okay.
you head to the western Kenya. And that's where I grew up. And going there as a teenager was really the time that I had to really get to acquaint myself and get in
What was your first
acculturated.
reaction of the States?
Well, in the days in '70s, I didn't dream about the United States of America, but I think the reaction was so much the way people live in terms of space, value of time, and
Yeah.
food and climate. It was also those many things coming at one go, and it's many things. If I can start telling you about the culture shock and the adjustment, it took forever. I think by the time I left, I was getting used to it. But
Yeah.
it's weather, food, space, family, all those kind of things. And of course, I was young. I was young and I was a teenager, so it was a good time to explore and learn.
So when you went there, did you ever plan on living there, or was your intention to come back?
Actually, it's both. I wanted to come back because I'll surprise you to tell you that the city I lived in, there were no chocolate people. Chocolate means
What
black
city?
people. It was just vanilla. So I had not seen African people for the longest I lived there. So I longed to come back home because I miss family. On the same token, I just wanted to go there and live there because it was cool. Life was comfortable. So it was kind of, I was divided, but I stayed there and came back. But I wish I would have stayed there. But anyway, I went back and I've lived there for 20 years. So my dreams came true.
Okay. I think one thing I'd like to know was how was family life for you growing up here?
Up here, I lived in a family in a farm, so we were farmers, and
How
I
many siblings?
I have five siblings,
Oh
and
wow.
I'm the oldest, and we have only one sister. The rest are boys.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was kind of modest life. I thank God, we had everything we needed,
Yeah.
and living in a Christian family that actually molded and made me have good foundation. I think it was cool. I think by then you couldn't tell much because we had nothing to compare with. We lived there, so we grew. Life was just normal until I stepped out to kind of compare my life in Kenya and America. But I thank God that it was kind of comfortable life, if you may.
Right. So
Yes.
what degrees did you study?
I have 4 degrees:
Okay.
Bachelor of Divinity, I have a master's in theology. I have a doctorate in ministry, and I have a PhD in intercultural studies.
Wow,
Yes.
that's a lot of studying.
I'm here to study. I want to go for one more.
Oh, really?
When I settle, when my family is out of school, I still want to. Because I'll tell you this, Dalcus, the more you learn, the more degrees you have, the more you realize how little you know.
Right.
Because little knowledge is dangerous. I think you've heard that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but I everybody in my family is in school, so I'll kind of take it easy, but I'll still pursue more. We learn. We cannot stop learning.
Right.
Yes.
So, what made you want to study those things in particular?
I, I guess most of the degrees I have are more towards religion and all that. I guess it has to do with the Christian values that were instilled in me when I was young. I had a call to serve God, and therefore, when I decided to follow that path, I thought it was important for me to equip myself to the highest level. So it is more of a vocation, it's a calling, and I had a passion to serve God and humanity.
So, you were never ever conflicted in terms of the career that you wanted to go into?
No, no. I think other than feeling like I mean, I'm human too. I'm a pastor, but I'm a human being too. In terms of material, because when you get called, you forego a lot of things. It's not just world pleasure, but also working so hard to make money, so to speak.
Right.
And sometimes, as a human being, I get tempted. Like, maybe if I didn't pursue this line, where would I be in terms of acquisition of property and in business and all that? But I don't regret,
Yes.
because I've come to realize the most important thing in this life is contentment and have peace and joy. That counts more than anything else. So yeah, sometimes I get tempted, like, am I missing something out there? But when I know what I do and for who I do it, I'm happy. If I go back 15, 20 years ago, back, I'll do the same thing again.
Oh, that's good
Yes.
to know.
Yes.
That's good to know. I feel like that's something a lot of people in my generation are always in conflict about. It's what career to get into. Did I get in? Am I going to go into the right thing? Or, am I going to stop halfway and regret everything?
Right.
But it's nice to know that you had a clear vision and that I guess these things are normal to have such questions.
Yes. Yes.
So next, I want to move on to your family.
Oh, yes.
So obviously, I know that you have two children,
Yes.
Catherine and Michael.
Oh, yes.
Catherine is one of my best friends. I've known her for a very long time.
Right.
So my question is, how has it been raising people of my generation?
It's tough. I'll tell you, it's tough. I don't know what your dad would say, but number one, we appreciate that you have kids. I think I also appreciate that you have kids who honor parents. And I guess, unlike how we grew, not a concern, but more of a worry about the life they live in America. I suppose if they were living in Kenya.
Do you feel as if it's an advantage or disadvantage, the fact that they lived in the States or have grown up there?
I think it's I mean, in retrospect, I think I would still have them live in the United States of America, because there are a lot of opportunities they've been able to acquire. The future is bright. There are some academic and other career opportunities in the United States than here in Kenya. Having said that, I think for me, being a Kenyan American, I would love them to be American, but I don't want them to lose their Kenyan identity. And that is a battle I've tried to almost lose, because they keep reminding me, especially Catherine, that she's an American. And true to the fact, she is, I would say, 90% American, maybe 95, only 5% Kenyan. Kenyan because of her complexion and the fact that she was born here.
Yeah.
But I would say, I think it is okay that they live, they and we live in a global world.
Yes.
Kenya is just a concept for me. So it's okay. And America belongs to God. Kenya belongs to God. And I'm glad I make that decision. There was a time I was thinking that I should have brought them here, but then I have settled with that, and it's okay. But to tell you the fact is that raising kids in America, you are more anxious, you're more nervous because they are going through independence. You can't guide them in the same way that you do in Kenya, because
Really?
in Africa, somebody belongs to the community, and community dictates how you carry your life.
Right.
And therefore, living in America, where life is individualistic, you get 20 years, you have your independence, you have your car, you know how it is. I know you also live UK and the US, you know what it is. And I think what we worry about is that our kids end up succeeding, which I thank God, because she just graduated, had a graduate. So we are proud. I'm proud of the two kids. They're good. They're good. They're okay. They're okay. They're okay. I think they're good. They're okay. Yeah, yeah.
That's good to
Yes,
hear.
yes.
Well, thank you for that. We're going to come back and ask you more questions
Yes.
about your kids, but for now, we'll take a break.
Thank you.